Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alvin King, and this is We Speak. A native Washingtonian, former ANC commissioner, activist, performer, columnist, radio personality, host, moderator, and spokesperson for equal rights in the gay, lesbian, transgender community. I am honored to have on We Speak One-on-One the incredible Racine Pendarvis. Thank you for being here, Racine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure to have you here. I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time. So thank you.
I am honored and quite humble.
Well, I too am a native Washingtonian, and prior to this past October, when you and I were on a cruise together, I never got the opportunity of witnessing the energy you bring to every platform that you stand on. As I sat through one of your Ask Racine shows, I watched how you touched people's lives in ways that I could have never imagined and had only heard of. So my very first question to you is, how would you best describe Racine Pendarvis?
Wow, that's an interesting question. First and foremost, I am a child of God. I am, I like to say, Mother Earth to the gays, and the queen of shameless plugs. But most of all, I walk in my light, and I walk in my truth, and I'm free. So I think that those are all parts of who I am, you know, and I'm open to always learn and let life teach me different lessons.
Well, it's funny to say that you're open, because that was one of the first words that came to me being on the cruise and watching how people interacted with you. And I'm not going to go into it, but on that cruise, you wore many different hats. I saw you consoling people who had just walked up to you and said they had a problem, to you seeing people acting out of character and you walking over to them and letting them know that that they could probably do what they were doing in a different way. So I saw how open people were and how they trusted you.
Wow, that's a blessing. I think when you're in tune with who you are and whose you are, and understanding that it is bigger than you, and when you walk in your light and you walk in your truth and you're open to spirit, you're open to help people, and you see when people are having problems. You could see people when they're going through things, and you can see if it is some form of mental health issue,
Right.
or surrounding addiction, or if they're acting out just for attention, or if they just need a hug, or just need to say it's going to be all right.
Right. Paris is Burning was filmed in the mid to late 1980s. It chronicles the ball culture and the African American, Latino, gay, and transgender communities involved in it. Some critics consider the film to be an invaluable documentary of the end of the golden age of New York City drag balls and thoughtful exploration, race, class, gender, and sexuality in America. Others have criticized it as exploitative and fetishizing toward transgender people of color. The names Soul, Freddie, and Kim Pendarvis were mentioned in the film. Is there any relationship to you and these characters that were mentioned in the film, Racine?
Yes, they are. They are all of my dear friends, and they are my brothers. And I am a proud member of the House of Pendarvis, and I've been for over 30 years. And many people don't know Avis, who was one of the first founding members of the ball culture itself when houses first started out of the original four, which were Doreen Corey, Paris Dupree, Pepper LaBeija, and Lord have mercy, please forgive me. It is Pepper, Paris, Dorian.
Kevin Ambias was
No, that's a DC house.
The DC house,
But out
okay.
of the 4 houses were the house of. Give me a minute. Can y'all?
Well,
scrap
but why are you saying that?
Because my mind is gone blank for a second.
It's okay because first of all, when I thought about asking you something about the balls and that particular question and your name being mentioned in it, there's a lot of people who are watching that don't know enough about the balls to know how it helped to shape gay culture
Right.
or the impact that it had on gay culture. So I wanted to make sure that
Good, and I received that.
we got
And here they
question.
go.
Okay.
Unfortunately, many of them are not with us anymore. So it's a very emotional when people ask me about that because it was Doreen Corey, Paris Dupree, Avis Pendarvis, and Pepper LaBeija. Those were the first 4 originating houses, and out of the house of which was Crystal LaBeija was the first mother. Then it became Paris, but it used to be the house of LaAsia, and then it became the house of LaBeija. But actually, they were the Latin girls who were the Latin girls and the black girls. Actually, when balls first started, the Harlem balls were uptown, and the Caucasians had the balls downtown. But the
Okay.
best balls were given by people of color,
Right.
and by the Latino children. So
Was
there
that-
was
that
always
because some of the
uptown.
energy that was associated with them?
Because,
or-
well, in all honesty, they were more creative.
Okay.
And
okay.
they were more innovative in everything that they did. They were emulated in the downtown balls.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we were stigmatized at a time that in that time of the early 50s, and talking to many of who were part of that community, who are no longer with us, doing racism and sexism, and balls were created out of a need for many people of color and many trans
Yeah.
men and women who created a community and something that they could call their own. Because unfortunately, people of color were not welcome in many places. So we had to create our own. And we had to create where we were celebrated and we were revered and we were appreciated. So out of that ball community came several other balls, houses. It was more of families. Because some families were more of like mothers and fathers to children who didn't have anywhere to go, who were put out of their homes for being gay, lesbian, or transgender. And these houses were created out of a need. So I think that people look at it on one side and say, what did they do? What did they create? They created something that they called their own.
Right.
And out of that grew a love and a fellowship. Even though we competed, it was a way that we competed in a way that if you won over me tonight, that's fine. I'll meet you at the next ball and I win. But it taught you that life is not going to be fair.
Well, one of the things that I can tell you that those balls did do, it brought the word Vogue. It made the word Vogue a household name. And then, to have that followed up with the dance craze, or if Vogue, what we now call Vogue, and a lot of people give a lot of credit to Madonna for doing that. But
God bless her. God bless her.
God bless her. She did it well. But I think she's even paid homage to the balls that
And she
used
had
be a part
to.
of in
I
New
mean,
York.
many stars and many celebrities came to balls, and they would come to balls and they would learn, and they would pick the dancers,
Right.
they would pick the costume designers, they would pick all these wonderful creative people, and many of them, like Queen Latifah in her early videos, they were voguing.
Right.
Diana Ross in one of her videos, they were voguing. Liz Torres, Jodie Watley, all of that style and dance from voguing. Voguing evolved out of what we called the LGBT community in ballroom, but there was whacking, voguing, and breakdancing. So all of it is all similar to one another. So it is amazing how whacking is now the biggest craze. When you look at it, is a form of voguing and a form of breakdancing.
Right.
So, and pop locking,
Right.
like the lockers. So it's all kind of amazing how the evolution, and God bless Madonna for bringing to the forefront and opening up the door for America to see it, and see it in a way that people in their homes could see people voguing, but yet we're like, oh my God. But then we could come in and see people that looked like us, or
right.
from our own communities, and we were celebrated. So God bless Madonna and all of those wonderful, amazing celebrities that latched onto it, because out of that grew all these incredible designers like Douglas Says, models like Tracy Africa,
Right.
who was the mother of House of Africa, who was the first transgender woman on the color box,
Right.
Clairol 615.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
she was,
thank you.
and she obtained many beauty contracts and was a transgender woman, but wasn't known at that time.
Right.
But competed in the ballroom. So I think before there was a Laverne Cox, before there was a Janet Mock, and so many others. There was
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Right,
There
okay.
was a Tracy Africa who
Exactly.
paved the way, and God bless her, who's still among us and still looking fabulous and over 60 and slaying it.
Well, hopefully we will see her soon, but I give credit to the ball. So thank you for sharing that with us. You have made a huge impact in the black gay community, obviously, in the black gay, lesbian, and transgender community. In your fight to eradicate and increase HIV awareness, when did you first become so involved?
I think all my life I've been fighting. I think all my life I've been fighting for something, for all injustices across the country. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything.
How about that?
How about that?
That's right.
So I think that I could say that I march with the king and I march with the queen. So I think that if you look at your life and see that it has been able to make a difference or make a change, or you latch on to something, especially with the fight for eradicating HIV and AIDS. And here we are on the eve of 2006.
That's right.
With a possible cure with PrEP and PEP, and to be able to be brought into classes and go across the country and be a PrEP and PEP ambassador. And thank God for so many entities and so many companies and so many people who are fighting in that cause. But I think that I've been so blessed that I saw a need early on, and I saw people who were, HIV and AIDS is not what it was 30 years ago. And I think that 30 years ago it was a death sentence for so many. And when people were diagnosed, they didn't know that they were going to live and see tomorrow.
Well, see, and that brings me to my next question to you. Looking back on when AIDS began to ravage our community in the late 1970s to when you began your fight in the mid 80s. Let's talk about some of your personal experiences that you encountered during the onset of the epidemic. I certainly have a few that I think people need to know about or want to know about.
Oh, wow. Some of my personal, I remember so many people fighting in their ignorance, fighting and living in fear, and so many of my brothers and sisters living in shame, and so many people creating organizations or fellowships before there were all these massive organizations. And when the need came, many of us who were able rose to the occasion, feeding people, clothing people, taking care of people, cleaning people, hugging people, and just giving them any form of care and kindness, you know, and it affected. I think if I look back over my life over the last 30 years, many of my friends, if I had to say that, I would say a large percentage is gone. And I'm here through the grace of God. And I know that my work hasn't stopped.
No, and
it won't stop.
And I'm sure, from what I know of you, I'm sure it won't stop. But in hearing you talk about that, I go back to the 70s when I know personally how, unlike today, where there's medication available to people who have been infected, they call it HIV now. But when it first came on the scene, it was AIDS. I could be talking to someone on a Tuesday, and Thursday they would be gone, and there would be no HIV. They would have AIDS. And so looking at our community now, who have the mindset that a pill, taking a pill, it will not cure them, but it definitely will allow them to live longer. But I think if they knew having the disease and what it could do to you, looking back, how do you feel about people just being in that mindset where a pill is a cure?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that for some, it's their way of coping.
Oh, okay.
It's their way of coping. If I take one pill opposed to 30 pills or 50 pills at one time, which some people would have to take, then I really don't have it in my mind. But and people have to find the peace within, wherever they are, with finding that ability to be comfortable and be okay with it. But then we have to take the shame and stigma from it. And I think people feel like sometimes, even in 2016, people are stigmatized with HIV and AIDS.
Sure, yeah.
And unfortunately, and people act in their own ignorance. And the people who are able to take one pill, if they can say, if I can take one pill and live, I'm all right. And then it says to other people it's a manageable disease, like diabetes or high blood pressure or stuff. It's manageable, but you still have to do what you have to do to live.
Right.
And people have to get that. It's changing the mindsets and talking to people and saying, yes, you can take one pill, but let me tell you about taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
So we have to also tell people, especially with PrEP and PEP, that if you are prescribed it, first of all, you have to see a doctor.
Right.
And there's a regimen that you have to do, and there's a mindset of saying that I want to be better and I want to take this and I want to take these pills, and if I get on the PrEP or PEP, that it is a regimen, but it's not the end all, be all to end all. That I still have to use condoms because we're talking about STIs and STDs and all other stuff. Right. So people we have to sit down and we have to advocate, and that's why I'm still fighting, especially to my young people, that young people have to take better care of themselves. And as someone who is older and mature, who just celebrated a birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday. That's right. Excuse me.
That I have to, it will be a dishonor to all of those whose lives who were taken, that if I don't raise my voice in any kind of way and tell people that you have to be better, you have to do better, and you have to live better. And then I have to learn and sometimes sit back and listen to young people, because young people have a lot to say.
They do have a lot to say. Well, hold that thought, Racine. We're going to cut to a commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Thank you.
In the United States, 1 out of 4 LGBT students and university employees have faced harassment due to their sexual orientation.
Thousands of people around the world are being persecuted for who they love and being denied their rights as human beings.
It is legal to be gay in 78 countries.
I just washed that.
Hi, I'm Alvin King, and this is We Speak.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
and to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to We Speak, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you just tuning in, I'm talking to the one and only Racine Pendarvis. Again, thank you for being here, Racine.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. On the first Wednesdays of each month, you host a free talk show called Ask Racine. Tell us about the structure and the purpose of the show.
Wow. The structure and the purpose. Mm-hmm. The structure is to let people come in and welcome into it started out as an LGBT show, but it has grown to welcome everyone. And it started out of a conversation where people say, Racine, I want to go somewhere, one where I don't have to pay. Right. And to make it free and in a space that everybody is comfortable, black, white, straight, gay, purple, brown, or any other color. Mm-hmm. Or those who don't identify as anything, but just want to come in a space where they want to laugh, they want to fellowship. So what I decided was I pulled all the people I knew, started pulling entities from different groups of here, and then wanted to give people who are artists, poets, authors, dancers, singers, a platform in the listening lounge where they could showcase their talent.
So it's sort of a variety show as well as a talk show.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's a little bit of everything. And because of Team Racine, I don't do it alone because of people who are part, who lend their talent, their time, their energy, and all these incredible poets and authors and politicians who come aboard because people need to be informed. Right. And people need to have a place where they can ask questions and don't feel as if they're being belittled. Mm. So I wanted to do that in a space and laugh and have a happy hour and eat and fellowship and use my years of wisdom to pass on and be a bridge and lighten my community. So if folks who don't understand the trans community, right, we can sit down and ask some questions about trans men and women and be okay with asking what we think may be a wrong question, but in all reality, it's a right question.
So your audience, people come up and just ask you any question. And I'm asking that because on the cruise, I watched people like pull questions out of their pocket and just ask you anything, and you knew how to answer them. And it was one question that a gentleman asked you, what advice would you give him to cope after losing his partner? And I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I think there was more water on the boat than it was in the ocean. Everybody in the room.
And I remember, and it was odd because he was the last person that night to get up and ask that question during the segment I call Ask Racine. That's the Ask Racine segment where no question is off the table. Whatever you ask, you're able to be comfortable and be free and be okay with asking it. And I knew exactly where he was coming from because I've been there. And it's kind of ironic, and my answer was to live after you lose your partner, to celebrate their life, to rejoice in the blessing of love, the blessing of that you had someone to love you back and someone to celebrate who you are and you to take that journey, however long or short, and be blessed in it, and relish that everywhere you go, there are parts of that person and everything they do is in you. That sometimes you can go outside the next day and see a flower that wasn't there before, or a breeze that will come across your face the next day and it's them kissing you and looking down on you saying it's going to be all right. And I know because I've been there, because I know what it's like to bury a partner and to be in a unique club. It's a very unique club because you can bury a friend or you can bury a loved one or a coworker, but when someone you share a life with, that you have now said, this is my partner or my husband or my wife, and we are going to love each other hopefully for the rest of our lives. But to be able to be in a position to give back and tell that person it's going to be okay. And there are going to be days when you feel like crying. If you want to break something and throw something, then throw something. Break something, scream, dance, celebrate. Do whatever you need. and get the therapy
Great. Oh,
and talk to somebody.
You did make that very clear. That's right. That's right. You did say seek help, but I also saw how off the cuff you were with his concern. So I believe me, that was one of the highlights.
And still today, he reaches out to me. Still today, and sent me a beautiful message yesterday, and we still kept in contact, and letting him know that he's not alone.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised. You have had many write-ups in every publication here in Washington, D.C. You've received some of the highest honors from organizations like Us Helping Us, People into Living. You received their Lifetime Award. You received the Triumph Award here in D.C. And not to mention that you have worked with Grammy Award winners like Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan, Martha Wash, Letta C, Faith Evans, and Fantasia. Having shared that, what would you consider would be one of your highest accomplishments?
My children, and my extended family are my greatest accomplishments. I'm honored and I'm blessed to work and to do the work and roll your sleeves up and get involved, but you do it because you care.
Right.
And when the awards come, they're very humbling and they're very honoring. And sometimes they come at a point when I really need it, because sometimes you're at a point where you feel like you just don't want to go on.
Right.
And I remember on one of the saddest days that someone had passed and I got a word. 10 minutes later, I got a call and said I made the 100 G-List Society of 100 outstanding LGBT people, and it's a national list. So when I got that call, I was like, wow, my God, my God. So I was really, it lifted my spirit, and it let me know that the work has to be continued. But my greatest accomplishment are my children, because they are my legacy, and they are part of me. And whether or not I birthed them or did not, the ones who are my extended family, that are in my circle, that I've been blessed with, and they don't even have to be a Pendarvis, because there's so many that are not. But those are my greatest accomplishments, to see them grow and walk in their light.
Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some more. We're going to talk more about some of the work that you've done in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. This is Racine Pendarvis.
I am a little bit nervous about people kind of hearing that I am this way and then thinking, well, she's not welcome here.
I would say I am different. We're all different.
Most people probably think I'm already weird anyway, so I mean, I don't think society's impression of me is going to change drastically based on one or two discoveries that come to light after this video. Or
pretty scary, you know. you wonder, how many people can I really, truly, honestly be open with?
I've tried to change this before, but it's too important to me. I actually think marriage is between a man and a woman.
I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I already have an idea of what marriage should be. That will never change.
At the end of the day, I think we don't need to truly be ashamed of how we really feel about things, so just be you.
No one should be looked down upon. No one should be suppressed, or no one's views should be suppressed.
I know a lot of people who are gay. I have friends who are gay. I don't fear them, you know? They're wonderful people. I love them. What I do feel insecure about is speaking from the heart and being really open and honest about what I believe.
I mean, I love my friends. Several of them happen to be gay. How would it not be the case that the ever-loving Creator who gave us everything we have doesn't love us?
Where's that balance? You know, where can you say, no, I'm not going to be a part of this, but still respect someone?
Bigoted is a huge word that gets thrown around. It's just not true.
You cannot have a society of hatred or a society of bigotry.
I happen to know what marriage is, and I don't see how it could change.
The best way to kind of break down all these barriers, is to just get to know people one-on-one. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone.
No, I don't know. No, I'm scared. I mean, you're so...
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, I have the pleasure of interviewing today one of Washington, D.C.'s, I'm going to say, favorite people or persons that I can ever think of, Racine Pendarvis. Again, thank you for being here today.
I am so elated. Thank you for having me.
Well,
this has been an amazing journey.
Well, part of it, well, all of it, you've caused. I mean, I could not have you here if you didn't have a story to tell.
How about that?
I could not have you here if you had not done some of the incredible work that you've done in the gay, lesbian, transgender community and in D.C. alone. Because I've seen you bless people who are not gay, lesbian, or transgender. So you are doing wonderful things. I know that you're blessed. According to the HRC, though, 37 million people are now living with HIV. 2.6 million are under the age of 15. In 2014, an estimated 2 million people were newly infected with HIV. 220,000 of those people were under the age of 15. Every day, about 5,600 people contract HIV, and that's more than 230 every hour. In 2014, 1.2 million people died from AIDS. Obviously, we still have a problem. What advice would you tell the youth of today who are sexually active and how important it is to protect themselves from contracting HIV?
I would tell young people, first of all, to love themselves. And when you love yourself and truly appreciate the essence of who you are and the beauty of all that is a part of you, then you realize your worth. And when you know your worth, you know that you won't have people who are unworthy in your space. And sometimes broken people work in brokenness. And when you're working in brokenness, you hold on to fragments that are something and less than. So you find yourself in dark places, doing things that are not appropriate with people because you're holding on and feeling like you need to feel as if you are valued. But when you know your worth and know you're valued, you don't put any and everything in your space. And you won't allow just anyone, and you won't lay down with anyone. And I tell young people, you got to meet them where they at. Sex is good. It's great. And you have to tell young people, but is it worth dying for?
Right.
So then you have to tell people, young people, start looking at people that you lay with. And understand that if you're going to lay with all these people, then protect yourself. And unfortunately, young people now, especially this whole glorification with barebacking, that and it happens in LGBT and non-LGBT circles. And for those who do not know what barebacking is, having sex unprotected. And if you want to feel that good, and if you're going to have sex with multiple partners, let's be clear.
That's right. That's right.
Because some folks are going in numbers further than their life could ever see them going.
In one evening.
So I could say,
Right.
even in that one evening.
Right,
And let's be clear, some people are having sex with 3 or 4 people in one evening.
Right.
So I say to young people, if you're going to have sex with 3 to 4, maybe 5, at least cover up 3.
Right. That's right.
At least, and then you lower the risk reduction. Right. And you got to meet people where they are. And you got to not talk down to young people.
Thank you, and I'm going to go off script. I know the producer, he doesn't like me to do that, but it's in my spirit right now. How do you think that the information technology or the internet has increased how young people think and how relaxed they are with just going out here and not protecting themselves? Or how do you think the internet plays into that?
Well, I think on the internet you can somewhat be anyone you choose to be. And you can create a profile and use a picture that may not be you. Or use a picture that was 20 years ago. That was you, but you no longer look that
Like
same
right, exactly.
at all. So sometimes it sets people up to be deceptional. And it causes people to do things that are not on the even playing field. So I think, and then it's a plus and a minus, because you're no longer in the bars, you're not getting drunk, and you not have to worry about somebody putting something in your drink and waking up next to a stranger. But with the social media, you can, it's a plus and a minus. You can put what you want and what you're looking for exactly. Right. That I don't want to have a relationship, that this is what I want to do and exactly what I want to do. And all those who want to party with me, come on and party with me. And those who are looking to, sometimes folks use it as a just moving into a city, and go on and create a profile and want to look for like-minded people and want to look for people that they can grow and get out, and they don't have to go to a bar or a setting that makes them feel uncomfortable. That they can reach out to people that may feel like, if you like music and I like music, or you like jazz, or you like rock, or you like punk, or you're a Beyonce fan, or you're a Lady Gaga queen, that whatever it may be, I can find people that I can gravitate to. So it's a plus and a minus.
Right. Okay. Well, it definitely has had its impact. Before we leave, or before we close the show, I want to ask, what's next for Racine Pendarvis?
What's next?
What's next?
Oh my God. Well, to be open to whatever comes, and to work and be the best possible person I can be, and to continue to be open, to grow, As the Ask Racine show grows, I'm welcoming and I'm opening the door to work with people who are producers, who are musicians, who are other artists. They can reach out to me on, and I've used social media.
Right.
As a wonderful plus to expand my brand. You know, they can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Instagram, Ask Racine, that's RAYCEEN. The Ask Racine Show on Instagram, and Racine, HRH, at Racine, RAYCEEN.
And for those
HRH.
Who are watching, we will also have all of any way that you'd like to contact Racine on our We Speak Facebook page. We'll make sure that we put all that information there so that people can contact you. I'm one of the fortunate few who have been invited to your birthday celebration this week, and Racine said that I could put that information on the Facebook page. I'm looking forward to
which is, by the way, we
that.
use it as for a charitable
cause. It is a charitable cause. I did notice that, and again, we will put that information on our We Speak Facebook page. Racine Pendarvis, it has been a true pleasure to sit here and talk with you and share you with our audience today, our We Speak audience. Thank you for joining us today again. As always, we thank you for watching and ask that you join us again when next we speak. Have a good night.
Thank you. God bless you. You know I love you.